family, just as this group was, and then the bombs start dropping. Now, might for might. That's why the United States of America sent in the bombers over into Iran, because they needed stealth. They needed Iran to never see us coming and not be able to do anything until we left. In Venezuela, we have a lot more military power that was shown just because Venezuela, they dared them. Go ahead and try to shoot us down. Engage in this conflict. Now, there's going to be a lot more information coming out in the coming days, and let me tell you, this is not over. So when you hear me mentioning that Venezuela is still a targetable attack, Maduro in his old regime or administration status, still a targetable attack or an attackable target, well, it is not over yet. But let's go ahead and...
Live update. Trump confirms U.S. strikes on Venezuela. Says Maduro was captured. Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And peace and salutations to the Lord's elect and the 1/3. And shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, which includes you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and you Israelite foreigners who have been scattered among the heathen. Right. I'm my brother Barak. Lord willing, this will be another edifying lesson. And it says right here, that basically, Venezuela, well, actually in the clip I showed in the beginning, it shows Venezuela just got hit with some strikes, with some, bombs, right? And, this is all part of, prophecy, right? Because what does the scripture say? This is the book of Matthew 24:6. And it says, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see it to that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains," right? So just like when a woman's given birth, the first month, right, it's not going to be as painful as what the very end, right? But you're going to slowly start to see signs of that you're giving birth, right? And it's going to slowly start to you're going to get more symptoms, right? And then that kid comes out, right? It's the same thing, man. Because what we know that the mark of the beast has to be implemented before any of these wars come, right? That's when really shit's gonna go down, when shit hits the fan, right? But first the mark of the beast has to be implemented. That's just according to prophecy, right? And you see this guy, this fierce king Donald J. Trump, right? America is just what? They're just basically this one big bully, right? And these other nations are gonna rise against America, right? Which is referred to as the whore in the scriptures is actually referred to as the whore, right? And we're gonna bring that out. This is the book of Revelation 17. We're gonna start at verse let's see. We're gonna start at verse 15 actually. "And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes, and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whores, and shall make her desolate, and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." Right? "For Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast. And the words of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai shall be fulfilled." Right? Who is that whore? Right? It's referring to what? Babylon, right? Babylon the Great. And the beast is going into what? When the scriptures say the beast shall hate the whore, it's going to NATO and the EU, right? Because what's gonna happen is these countries, they're they're gonna get basically fed up with what America has done, right? Because America is just what they bombing whoever, right? They're taking they're creating false flag events, right? This is why you have they'll basically because Esau, he's the biggest drug dealer, right? So what this guy does, he basically does, man, is he basically he basically takes, he makes up a reason to raid these places, right? He'll call them the T words, call them rebels, call them cartel groups, mercenaries, and then he'll use that as an excuse to go raid their lands, right? And take oil, right? He does this time and time again, right? So all these other nations, they're eventually gonna get fed up with it, and they're gonna retaliate, and that's when you're gonna see those fucking missiles, man. That great sword, which the scriptures talk about, which is actually going into the nuclear missile, right? The intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? And they're gonna send their missiles to Babylon, right? And it's gonna be a wasteland, right? There's a book of Isaiah 6:11. It says, "Then said, O Lord, then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate." How is that supposed to happen? Through those nuclear missiles, man. Right? Because what the Lord is he's gonna send that, he's gonna destroy that place, right? And when a land is desolate, right, when nobody can inhabit it, why? Because of that nuclear radiation, right? Everything's gonna be destroyed. No one's gonna survive, except for the elect, right? Because the elect are gonna get beamed up, by the chariots, right? And that's gonna be, the miracle, right? The salvation for his men, right? For the Israelites, right? That's the only way we're gonna be survived, by calling on, we're gonna survive by calling on the name Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, and doing the work, right? Having faith that we're gonna get delivered out of this fucking place, right? And this book of 2nd Ezra 16:3, verse 7, it says, "May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer," right? And that arrow, what is that arrow referring to? Those nuclear missiles. It's not talking about, an arrow that can get shot, across the continent, right? It's not talking about, bow and arrow, because this is what the scriptures speak of. And, when it's referring to that arrow, man, it's speaking about, actual nuke. The prophets, they were seeing, they were describing things to the best of their ability at the time. So, they were describing them as arrows, right? And now the prophets now, we're able to, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, we're able to, see, right? These are the things that are going to happen. This is the book of Isaiah 14, verse, verse 16. It says, "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?" Right? Esau Edom, man, what the fuck does he do, man? He just, destroys cities, right? Blows shit up, rapes, robs, murders, steals, right? The whole world, man, respects this devil, right? Nobody, and that's why, the USA right now, they believe they're truly untouchable, right? But eventually, these other nations, they're just gonna have enough, right? Which you're starting to see that. That's why, the largest oil reserves, Venezuela, right? they don't just if their allies basically, you know, side with Venezuela, right? To put it in simple terms, a lot of many different deals are going to get cut off, right? It's going to affect the economy, basically. What I'm trying to say, and oil prices. When you have when the oil prices get blown out of proportion, right? Then what? It affects the power grid. It affects the transportation. It affects the even the food supply, right? It's just a whole a chain effect, a domino effect, right? And there's gonna come a point where all these actually you're seeing it right now, right? The other countries are starting to realize the U.S. dollar is fucking it's shit, right? You're seeing the collapse of this devil society, right? At one point, man, everybody looked up to America. Everybody see it as this top dog, right? And now everyone's turning their back on America, right? They're starting to hate this fucking place, right? Because this devil, he just blows shit up, takes what he wants, right? And these other nations, they're gonna just have enough, right? And you also got don't be surprised when they also do these cyber attacks, right? They start doing those sleeper cell invasions, these T-word attacks. Because think about it, man, there hasn't been a major T-word attack that really made people freak the fuck out in the United States, except for that Nizzle 11, right? If you know what I'm talking about, which, mind you, that was also planned by Esau, right? Everything's planned by this man. But what I'm trying to say is, they haven't orchestrated a big attack in such a long time to where people really freak the fuck out. But now by 2026, man, Lord willing, we see something like that play out, right? And because at the end of the day, man, this devil, he's gonna try to his main goal is to get everybody on that mark of the beast first, right? Like I was saying before, like these other going back to the book of Matthew, right? These rumors of wars, they're gonna come, but the mark of the beast has to be implemented first, right? And so time is really speeding up, and we're gonna bring that out. This is the book of Matthew 24 and 20. Start at verse 22, and it says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Right? So time is speeding up. It would the quote unquote New Year happened, and I looked at the clock. No, not even a minute later, it was 12:05. And I'm not even exaggerating. I checked. I looked away for a second, man, and 5 minutes passed. It's like a minute is actually 5 minutes now. It's crazy, right? And you already seeing what Elon Musk roll out the MOTB, right? People are already getting those. They're already ramping up production, right? So it could be tomorrow, man. It could be overnight, where some major event happens and they're like, okay, you know what? No, we need everybody on this digital ID. We need everybody on this MOTB, and they're gonna do it quickly, just like that, just like the same way they did that thing 6 years ago. The same way they can do that shit overnight. So don't be surprised when this shit just goes down, right? And all of a sudden they start pushing this, mark out, right? Because things are really speeding up, right? And the Lord knows that we want to get the fuck out of here, so He's gonna shorten that time period for the elect's sake, right? And the Lord willing, we're part of that number, So I just wanted to make this quick update. Lord willing, this was edifying, right? Lord willing, you people take heed, right? So what I'm saying, right? Take heed to the prophecies, right? And pay attention to the signs, pay attention to what's about to go down, and do not take that mark of the beast, right? And endure until the end, right? With that being said, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodesh. Shalom.